So this is my PowerPoint presentation over my experiment that looks at global obesity and how hands-on nutrition education experiments can help decrease the global obesity pandemic. Next slide. Okay, so let's look at what is globesity. Globesity refers to the worldwide obesity epidemic, and currently 1/3 of the world's population is considered obese. Well, what determines obesity is when your body mass index or your BMI is above 30. Next slide. Okay, so the problem with this, I believe, is the lack of nutrition education leading to increased obesity levels because people don't know how to eat, they don't know the right portion sizes, and how to take care of their body. And in places that do have nutrition education, there's a lot of research gaps. It's a lot of book work just to say that they're doing a nutrition education class. So to have a better future, we must prepare for a better future. And to do that, a possible solution would be, next slide, to increase nutrition education starting with school-aged children. The implementation in schools would hopefully prevent future obesity problems from rising. And to do this, it'll teach kids healthy foods and portion sizes that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. And not include so much book work, more hands-on experiments. I believe that students will learn better and we can bridge those research gaps if we do hands-on experiments for more inclusive learning strategies. Next. So my hypothesis for this experiment was that the majority of children will learn better from hands-on experiments as opposed to being lectured, and so therefore they'll learn a better nutrition education. Hands-on experiments engage children's senses and activates their mind, and it's more inclusive of a learning strategy than just handing out worksheets and doing book work. Ben Mardell, PhD and researcher at Harvard University, states that kids learn through all of their senses and they like to touch and manipulate things, so that helps to prove my hypothesis. Next slide. So to determine if this hypothesis is correct or not, I planned out an experiment, and the goal is to determine what strategy students learn best from, lecture or experimentation, or hands-on experimentation. For this experiment, I'm going to be giving students a lecture over fats. This will include saturated and unsaturated fats, visible and invisible fats, the functions of fats, and the energy production from fats and the calories it produces. Next, my test subjects that I use are my youth cheerleaders that I coach. They're all girls ages 7 to 9, and I'm going to introduce them in the next couple slides. Next, this is Addie, she's in 3rd grade. Next, Claudia, she's in 5th grade. Next, Ashlyn, she's in 2nd grade. Next, Addison, who's in 3rd grade. Next, and Bella, who is in 4th grade. So next, I decided that I'm going to first give them a lecture, short lecture over fats, and give them this 10-question quiz. This is some of the questions on it, like fat is a type of, and it's multiple choice, but I didn't have room. And it's a nutrient. It says, is fat good, bad, or both? And it's both. Different questions like this, and then we did an experiment over fats and discussed the differences, and took the same quiz again, and then I compared the results. So for the lecture, next slide, just a brief recap of it. I told them we're going to learn about fats. I asked them if they knew what fat is, and they gave different answers, like the stuff you cut off chicken and don't eat. And I talked about how it's a nutrient and how most food contains traces of fat, and discussed visible and invisible fats. And I asked if they thought it was good or bad. Most of them said they thought it was bad, but I told them that it's both and how it works in different ways, but how it can also cause health problems if you eat too much. and I asked them if they had any questions, and then I gave them the quiz. Next slide. That's a picture of them taking a quiz at cheer practice. Next. And so this is their results. As you can see, they scored kind of low. Only 2 of them passed. The average is down here. You can't really see it, but their average was 56%. Next. Then we did the experiment. Those are the products we needed: an apple, avocado, butter, carrot, cheese, brown paper bag, timer, and writing utensils. Next slide. So for the first step, we discussed the differences and the characteristics of fat, how fat doesn't evaporate. So, and then we talked about visible, invisible, saturated, unsaturated fats. So basically this experiment, next step, we put pieces of food on labeled pieces of brown bag, and we took a picture. Next slide. This is another picture of what it looked like when I was testing it on my own. Next slide. And then after 1 minute, we removed the pieces of food and we documented what it looked like. So as you can see, the little juices left stains on the brown paper bag. Next slide. Then we waited 30 minutes to have snack time to see what fats would evaporate and see what foods contained fat. Next slide. Okay, and then we looked and saw which paper bags still had stains on them. And as you can see, butter, obviously, which is a visible fat, left a big mark. Cheese left a mark, and avocado left a mark. The carrot had a little bit of a stain, but it was mostly from the color and the juice. Next slide. And that's another picture of what it looked like after the 30 minutes was up. As you can see, the avocado, cheese, and butter, which are pretty high in fat, contained big stains. Next slide. Then they retook their quiz. Next slide. And these were the results. As you can see, the results are significantly higher. Addison's the only one that had the same results as before. Next slide. And their average was 78. This is a comparison of their quiz results. Most of them scored higher. So, next slide. In conclusion, solely based on this experiment, the results show that the majority of the students learn better significantly with a hands-on experiment versus the use of a lecture. And I believe that these type of strategies should be used in nutrition education implementation to help prevent the obesity epidemic from increasing further. Thank you. That's good.